Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. Thrilled to death that you're listening to our show. This is the Guitar Knobs Light.
Hey, it's summer.
It's down to me and Tony. Things are good, they're busy and everything, but we're
the
gonna,
most important knobs.
really.
It's like volume and tone.
I'd be tone.
No, I'm tone.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, that's my name.
You look more like volume to me, buddy. And usually we have some kind of guest that's making stuff and doing all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But today we've got a guest in studio.
In the studio.
Who is also a maker of lots of things, but not the kinds of things that we typically focus on here. However, he is a Grand Poohbah. Sir, introduce yourself.
Grand Poohbah, Matt Hart.
There you go. Matt Hart is hanging out with us today. Matt is a musician. He is a writer, an author, a teacher of writing and authoring, an avid...
A poet. He's a poet, damn it.
Yes, he's the president of the Hair Club for Men.
Yes.
Actually, no,
Even
but if he
He's
would
not
loan
only the
me some of
president.
his, I wouldn't be pissed.
He's not only the president,
Yeah,
he's also a client.
He's got a shocking coiffure. Yes, that is something. Now, what are you going to do? Because you're kind of like known for that,
I know. I don't know what's going to happen if it ever goes away.
right?
Yeah.
Do you have to clip it? It's a shock. I mean,
I do sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I shaved my head the day before my wedding.
Oh. Probably not a good move.
Yeah, my wife thought I looked a little like Curious George. It was...
Yeah.
But did you leave the burns?
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah.
you had...
So I had the burns, but they weren't gray back then. They weren't.
Yeah. Great. So you look like a skinhead, like a real one,
I know,
with braces and the whole 9 yards.
It was terrifying.
Right?
I said never again.
Fred Perry shirt and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
My
Never
favorite
again.
Camper Van Beethoven
but the good
song.
kind of skinheads, not the
great
jerk
one.
ones.
Take the skinheads bowling.
Yeah.
Take them bowling.
So, anyways, a few episodes back, I mentioned that Matt invited me to come watch him do an oration.
Sure.
An
reading.
oration.
Yes.
A reading. Oration sounds way more like hefty.
Sounds
an
kinda sexy.
oration. I'm gonna go with that of the book that he had. One of the books that he had just recently published and was going through, and he's been posting them. Is it week by week?
It's week by week.
Week by week. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing a reading week by week, going through this book. Anyways, met up with him, and he's a supporter of the show and everything. But I know he's also a musician, and we had an amazing time while he was doing his thing. And it was when you meet up with somebody, and I know that so many of us out there, when we do get the opportunities to meet with each other, in various ways, you're kind of already in. And hopefully you're in a little bit more than like a tiptoe in. And for the most part, I can't say of a single listener that we've met, or even guests that we've met, that we have not been able to completely embrace. And it's felt like long lost brother from another mother. You know
That's
what
right.
I mean?
Everything clicks.
Yes. So I definitely got that from Matt, and we probably could have just sat there and talked for hours.
I wish we could have done that.
Yeah, it'd be
Rather
fun.
than having me read, but yeah.
You should have had Todd read your poetry.
That would have been fantastic.
So, what's this? It doesn't even make sense.
Use the word solder in your next
right.
poems.
Yes. Yeah. My next book is called Solder, and all the poems are called Solder.
They all have silent L's in them. Silent P's. Yeah. Anyhow, so I said, we need to get you on the show because, you got a lot of rock and roll experience.
Yes.
And you love music, and that's what this is all about. And you
Right on.
love guitar stuff, and you're a cool dude, so that's tick, 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 tick.
And
all
he's
the boxes.
literally down the pike, down in Cincinnati.
Yeah, pretty close enough, right? So he made the trek up tonight. We appreciate that, my
Yeah,
friend.
thank you for coming in.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And recently upped his ante in a big way from
Executive producer
to
Grand Poohbah.
bingo, and we could not appreciate that more. Anyways, so we've got a great show tonight. We are super excited to talk back about stuff. We didn't have an episode before this. No, we did have an episode before this. It was summer school, but before that, we didn't have an episode because I had. So when you would have, anyways, there was a gap in an episode. I was dealing with some pretty heavy family stuff, and I just couldn't get one out. So I apologize, everybody. But we're gonna make up for it for the rest of the summer. So, without further ado, I have a couple announcements. Number one, I got a message from Martin Cliff, our good friend out in Budapest.
Oh,
I
that's
believe
right.
He's still out in,
yeah.
I think he's still out there.
I thought he was in Romania.
Maybe. He moves around. I'm trying to remember. Anyways, he says he's in the Eastern Europe. Let's just wherever he might be.
Fair
today.
enough. Fair enough.
He said, "Loved the last few episodes, guys. Dr. No has such a cool attitude. Grez Guitars makes awesome looking stuff, and the NAMM episode was hilarious. Brief update." Or shameless plug from me. For the first time, I think, in 8 years, I put some new music out! Exclamation point. First single is called Back to the Garden Revisited. Out now with another single, We Were Wrong, due out on the 23rd of June, and an instrumental album called Simply Enough. Should be out 31st of July. Greetings from sunny Bucharest.
Bucharest.
I was close. He was in Budapest, but now he's in Bucharest. Yes, anyways. Martin, dear Martin, has been a supporter of us for the longest time, and we're just so thankful that you are out there and doing your thing. And you know what's funny is when we were waiting for Late Sauce Tony to arrive.
Who?
Matt and I were talking about music and recording it and releasing it and how marvelous it is, and you know, we still look at it as absolute magic that you can bang out something on a guitar and then get with some pals and record it or record it yourself, give it a little bit of zhuzh, and then you have this thing, and you're just like, don't forget, when you do this, you are doing something that people can only dream of. There are few people that can take the steps to do it. It doesn't matter how good it sounds. You made something, and you followed through your plan. You followed through where your heart was guiding you as far as what that music is, and you have something to show for it, and that can never be taken away. And that is such an awesome thing.
And it's more accessible now than it's ever been.
Absolutely.
When we were younger, we wanted so badly to be able to record, to have a band, to, you know, get all these ideas down on tape. And now you can do it in your bedroom.
Yeah.
It's a miracle every freaking time.
It is. And we were talking about a little bit about, you know, we're not trying to be the old folks show or anything. Like, hopefully it doesn't sound like that.
I remember when you had to have a special kind of tape deck.
We were both making note of the fact that, you know, it is an amazing time, even like month by month, year by year. I mean, that's why NAMM is still so exciting to go to, right? And why we're excited about all the new gear, and things are constantly moving forward, but they're moving forward at a pace that no one's ever seen before. And when Matt and I are about the same age, when we were growing up, you know, I said, you know, I was a radio kid, and yeah, I know he is too. And many of us who are listening right now, it's like we grew up listening to the radio. We didn't have access to everything. And this isn't like, when I grew up, like Tony just did. It's not about that. But I just wonder if there is an extra level of appreciation for the effort and for the outcome for those who haven't had just, you know, access to everything and being able to just put it anywhere they want, anytime, and everybody can have it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a totally
it's not a better or worse thing.
Yeah,
it's
just a different experience.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not throwing shade on anybody that didn't get that experience. It's got to be different. I can only assume it has to be.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely probably value certain aspects of the tech that we have now and the access that we have to things that other people don't, but maybe they value certain other things more.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyhow,
Nice.
it was fitting that he had said that and we were just talking about it, so I wanted to relay that.
Beep.
Just checking that I hit record. Beep. But I did when you actually first came in.
Beep.
So that's only happened once. So
One time
was enough.
too many.
Yeah. Anyways, I also wanted to bring up. I saw this really great. I'm gonna plug this in. I'm gonna share this with the guys here
Share
real
it,
quick.
please.
I happen to be browsing my email, and on my email, I got something from Guitar, blah blah. Where was it? Here it is. I'm going to it. I'm getting it. Here it comes. Finding it. Here it is. So I thought Tony would especially like this.
I see Rickenbackers.
Yeah. So this is from guitar.com where, we get a lot of good news and stuff like that. And it's an article. It says the genius of Roger Rosmeisel. Rosmeisel.
Das ist gut pronunciation.
Yes. Roger Rosmeisel.
Eisel.
Anyways, he is the legendary guitar designer who
Yes.
is largely responsible for the timeless and unique look of Rickenbacker guitars and basses. But there's more
After he left
to
Rickenbacker,
Roger Ricky's. Yes.
he moved over to Fender.
Tell us about it.
Well, he was originally hired to become the head of production for the acoustic guitar division.
Yes.
But while he was there, he also helped design the Tele Thin Lines
Yes.
and the there was a jazz box. What was it called?
He did the Rosewood there too.
Of course, the Rosewood Tele.
Yeah.
That many people recognize from George Harrison playing on the Let It Be
And
sessions.
the Coronado.
That's right. The semi-hollows, the
Yes.
Coronado.
The Archtop LTD.
That's
and
the one. The LTD.
Montego. I don't know what the Montego is.
So the LTD and the Montego are essentially the similar guitars. Both are big jazz boxes. And Roger Rosmeisel's background was
Rosmeisel.
his background in Germany was, and his father made. In fact, they were called Roger guitars.
Out of blue spruce.
Bruce. But anyhow, those guitars are the Limiteds and the Montegos are just impossible to find.
Yes.
And they're really cool guitars.
See, I didn't know this, that the rosewood was a chambered rosewood.
It's chambred.
Yes. That's very
Yes,
interesting.
it was because rosewood is very, very heavy.
Yes. So there were 6 Telecaster prototypes made in 1968. Hang on. There were 6 Telecaster prototypes made in 1968 and 1969. One was given to George Harrison,
Yes.
who used it in the Let It Be sessions
Yes, I
and
said
for
that.
that famous rooftop gig.
Yes.
Another went to Elvis Presley. A Stratocaster version was also made and intended for Jimi Hendrix, who tragically passed away before the guitar could be delivered.
Yes.
That's my best NPR.
That's very good. It
Thanks.
sounds like you're a documenter.
Yeah. He was then involved in a car accident and obviously bad stuff.
Bad stuff
So
after
anyways,
that.
I thought that was really interesting.
No, I mean, I consider
It
him.
didn't really talk much about the Rickenbacker.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, and that to me is his biggest contribution to the world of guitars because he brought over. I mean, he came up with the designs for what were called then Capris,
Right.
which later become 330s.
He's responsible for the German carve pretty much almost single-handedly.
The German carve on 381s, yes, and his
You know what they call the German carve in Germany?
Das Carven.
The German carve!
But the other part that is interesting is when he moved over to Fender.
Yeah.
Like when he went to the Tele Thin Lines, those were actually made from a 1 or 2 piece body that was scooped out, and then a piece of wood was laminated on the back. And that became, it's actually really good structure, and it's similar to what happened in the world of Rickenbacker, too. That's how Ricks have. They're basically scooped out, and then they have a back glued onto the back. That's why there's usually binding on the back on, like, the curvy 360s.
Binding on the back, sunroof crack, digging the scene with a gangster lean, baby.
Nice.
I'm on it. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyhow, well, that's an excellent article. I'll have to look that one up and delve into it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we delved. That was the delve.
No, I mean
delving.
personally, I will delve into
personally
it
delving
and
into
read it in depth, and then
Methinks thou delvest too much.
you know me, I love to read.
Anyways, so there we go. There's some fun announcements.
Yeah, that's cool. That's on guitar,
That is on guitar.
guitar.com.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, let's get through what's going on in our music world this week. Anthony.
So this week, in keeping with our German theme,
Yes.
I was
The lovely.
the untalented.
The becoifed.
Becoifed?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I mean, compared to this guy.
Yeah.
No.
Yours is more like
Mine is a...
don't.
It's
just less than that.
It's less than that.
Yes.
But I
Okay.
bet I could do that.
Yes.
It's about the right length. I bet.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
some
a
good
little
hair.
bit of Elmer's glue.
But Matt's got nothing on your fishnet stocking. So go ahead.
Very true.
Yeah, see you pull this off. So in keeping with our German theme this week,
Okay.
I was...
Do I get to do this through the whole show?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I was the July 2023 issue of Guitar Player magazine has a review, and this is a very interesting deal. This is a German company with an unfortunate name. I suspect there is some weird German translation, but the name of the company is called Kiss My Strings. Kind of unfortunate, but
I mean,
what are you going to do? That's
not
what
the
they call
best.
themselves.
It's not the worst.
Yeah, but they make a bridge that is similar to the Mastery bridge for Jazz
Is
Masters
that some kind
and
of like weird
Jaguars.
translation? Like, when you laugh when somebody trips. Anyways, they have these huge words that mean like entire phrases. I wonder if there's something lost in translation.
It could be. I mean, there is if you go over to Kingsdale,
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah. Look, he's hurt himself.
But there is a I'm not sure if it's a Korean restaurant, but it's called Light Bulb.
Okay.
All right. They probably didn't understand the translation
Yeah.
thing. I mean,
There's one by us called Seasoning Crab. I'm like, what does that mean?
I love seasoning crab.
Yeah.
Anyhow, this is a bridge for a Jazz Master or Jaguar or even Mustang that is similar to the Mastery bridge that has basically, it's similar to a intonated 3-saddle Telly bridge.
Okay.
And this one, again, it looks to be very well made. The review is very positive. The company also offers saddle sets for Telecasters, and I'm actually thinking of ordering one of these bridges up. They're not terribly expensive. I think it comes in after.
They're each of the saddles.
Each of the saddle is compensated, so it's they go like that, like a compensated
one's up
telly.
and one's down.
Yeah, yeah.
One's up and one's down.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
But it also has very deep grooves in it, and if you're familiar with Jazz Masters or Jaguars, one of the problems is the strings like to pop out of whatever saddle. The threads of the saddle. So this is kind of a combination of a Telecaster and a Jaguar Jazzmaster bridge. So I definitely want to try one of these out because I do like the 3-saddle bridges.
What's that going on?
What is that going on?
Yeah, what kind of guitar?
A Jazzmaster or a Jaguar or a Mustang. You could do the same thing on a Mustang.
Just double checking.
Yeah.
Reiterating, if you will.
You're crossing T's and dotting I's, aren't you? So I think I'm actually going to order one of these. They come in around $150, which is but it's comparable to what you would pay for a Mastery.
Yeah.
And I've used the Mastery bridges on a number of guitars.
And it's just a bridge. It's not the whole.
This is
like
just the
vibrato
bridge.
setup and
No,
everything.
not the
Okay.
vibrato. And that's one of the biggest complaints with people that have those particular models of guitars. The strings tend to pop out. The break angle on the strings is a little tough. Sometimes the strings actually rub against the base of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of solves that. I've used the Mastery ones on a couple of guitars.
What are you going to put it on?
I'll probably put it on one of my Jazz Masters. But anyhow, so there's that. And they also make a set of Tele saddles that are the same way. I think those run about $100. And the interesting thing, and this, I love the fact that they recommended this, is typically, you can buy compensated saddles that are all brass for Telecasters, which are great. But I learned a long time ago that if you use brass on the B&E and aluminum on the other two saddles, the EA and the DG, it brightens up the bass strings, but dulls down the treble strings.
That's kind of cool.
What they're recommending is they sell a set.
Or is it? Is that not cool?
It is cool. What they sell is a set that has
That's cool to me.
that has a steel EA, an aluminum DG, and a brass BE.
Wow.
So steel being the brightest of all the materials. So
That's perfect for when I'm playing the Clash music.
It would actually help you. It would help you. But, for years I've always used just, brass saddles. And then a few years back, I started experimenting using aluminum on the first two saddles, and that helped. I'm curious to see if adding
That
a
sounds
steel.
pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Do you think that like all parts, do they offer anything like that, or WD or anything?
WD offers some compensated saddles. They offer all three materials, but they don't offer a set that has all three in.
Because I still got to get that for the vintage classic vibe, Telly.
Oh yeah.
And actually that other one, because it's got those individual like super long screws on it, and goofy.
Are they three saddle bridges?
No, the Mexican is 6.
Yeah.
But it's the offset 6. It's the long screw with the offset
Yeah.
saddle.
Well, we got to change the plate because you need a three.
Yeah,
Three screw
it's
set.
no bueno.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, let's do that.
I know some people.
Cool.
So anyhow, so check it out. Their website is kissmystrings.de. Hey, it is what it is. That's
Don't
what
let your mom see that.
Yeah, don't be careful what you Google search. But it's pretty cool. Their website is pretty navigable for being a foreign website. A buddy of mine that was looking at this, he went in on his computer and it didn't recognize that he was in the U.S. And he was trying to decipher a German site.
I understand.
So they have a site that reads in English.
That's brilliant.
There
I
you
like
go.
it. I like it very much.
Check them out.
Do they say that there's some advantage to this bridge over, say, a Mastery or a Stay Trim?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think because I'm looking at the construction and it is almost dead on to what Mastery does.
Okay.
The Stay Trim is a little bit different. That's more like a very focused Mustang
bridge, yeah.
And they make a 7 1/4 and a 9 1/2. This one is.
I like the lip that goes over that. I don't know why.
You like the Mustang bridges?
Just with the little,
The little thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Okay.
Don't know why.
I use Mustang bridges on most of my Jaguar Mustangs and related Jazz Masters
Okay.
because I do like. I'm with you. I think it's a better bridge.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was lovely, Tony. Thank you, as per usual.
Check it out.
Yes, Matt, delight us and enlighten us.
All right. Well, since I'm a writer, and because Tony sometimes recommends books,
Yes.
I-
And we're going to get into your full blown like all of your stuff in a little bit.
Cool, but I feel like I have to. So I've been rereading this book, and I can't remember where I heard about it. I don't think I heard about it on this podcast. But there's a book by a guy named David Todd. It's called Feeding Back. Interviews with alternative guitarists.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So it has interviews with people like Keith Levine from Public Image Limited, Roland S. Howard from Birthday Party, Jay Mascis, Lee Ronaldo from Sonic Youth, Kim and Kelly Deal from The Breeders are both interviewed in this book. It's really fantastic. It's a fascinating book. And I think the interviews are pretty good. Some are better than others because some of the interviewees are better at being interviewed than others.
That's fair.
And they seem like they're pretty much just transcripts of the interview that they did. But it's a really fantastic book. So I've been rereading that because I read it I think maybe a year ago and I got back into it recently. The other thing that happened
It's Feeding Back.
Feeding Back.
Nice.
By David Todd.
Is there like a sub?
I think it's Feeding Back Interviews with Alternative Guitarists.
Okay.
I think is the subtitle. But if you go onto your favorite, book website and search Feeding Back David Todd, it'll come up.
That reminds me, I should give you, if you haven't read it, I got the Under a Big Black Sun.
Oh no, I haven't read that. No.
I'll get that to you.
Okay, that would be fantastic. And then the other thing is, when I first moved to Cincinnati back in 1993, the very first show I ever went to was at this place called Sudsy Malone's, which was a laundromat and bar. And if you brought your laundry, you could get into the shows free.
Yeah.
So
we have one in town like that.
Yeah, Superchunk played there. The Jesus Lizard, Guided by Voices. It was like, all the bands of the day were playing at this place. And I walked in and, I'd just gotten to town and there was a band playing and it was a local band, a local Cincinnati band called the Tiger Lilies, but they had some good regional and even some national success. And there was a guy playing guitar, and as I walked in, he's playing this solo and he stomps on this pedal and it's like, wah, 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 like just insane, like one of the greatest sounds I'd ever heard. And it's one of the things that endeared me to Cincinnati for immediately was just walking in and hearing that and thinking like, this is what's going on in music, right?
I've arrived.
So I never, at the time I didn't know what a phaser was. Of course, I love phasers now, and that's what he was using was a phaser. And I always assumed that he was using like an MXR, phase 90 or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out I'm working part-time at this record store now, and it's owned by that guy. It's called Black Plastic is the name of the record store. And that guitar player owns that store. And for some reason, we were listening to something at the store, and I don't even remember what it was now, but a phaser came on. And I said to him, hey, I was like, I told him the story about walking in, hearing him play that solo, and I was like, what were you using? Were you like a phase 90? He was like, oh no, Russian small stone.
A Russian small stone.
Yeah. And
do I know?
I'm stuck. EHX, right?
Yeah.
They make these small stones.
Yeah, I know they made a small stone, but I didn't know.
So there's a Russian one.
Really?
Yep.
I gotta look this up.
Look it up.
Tony.
Look it up. I know all about it.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was like, all right, I've never tried one. Got to get one. Went on to the site we all go to, and there was one
and it's black with pink.
Very reasonable price.
There's a green one too. Did you have a black?
I got the black one with the kind of pinkish red. Yeah. And so that is being shipped to me as we speak. I can't wait to get it.
Oh, nice.
That's
really excited
cool.
about that.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, I think the small stone is technically a phaser. I don't know what the comparable, because MXR made the 45, the 90, and the 180.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's probably somewhere, maybe it's closest to the 90.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah. Really exciting.
That is cool. I think maybe I might have to see about trying to find one before this airs, and then
And I like that
they all
like
go
that
through the
big
roof.
box, you know. It's
Oh,
like
the big hunko metal.
The big hunko
That's
metal.
considering it's just got a toggle, a knob, and a foot switch. That's a lot of real estate for very little.
Yeah, I know.
Well, as we've often said, sometimes the size of the box actually adds to the tonality of the
Definitely.
Yes. I would be interested to hear. Hang on. I gotta plug this back in.
Plug it back in.
It'd be interesting to know what the difference is because
Not unlike the Big Muff, there's the green Russian, there's a black Russian. Well, there's a green Russian small stone
Yep.
and a black Russian small stone.
Right.
I wonder what the difference is.
Yeah.
Is there
How
a
does that
white
sound?
Russian small stone?
Oh, no.
Just add some cream to it.
Why hasn't anybody made a white Russian?
They made a white rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right.
there you go. Somebody go make that. I'm thinking, there's a lot of people that could make that right now. All right, that's the challenge. But it's a muff off.
It's not a muff. It's a stone.
Stone off. No, but I was talking about the white Russian muff.
A muff. Big muff. Small
Yeah.
muff.
Anyhow,
Medium
that's very
size
cool.
muff.
You got to tell us what you think of it.
All right.
Hopefully, it's not like a
big letdown.
Yeah. It has the potential for that. Certainly, I think.
I know.
Well, I mean,
I wasn't aware of these. That's really cool.
I mean, back in the late 70s, early 80s, Electro-Harmonics had, the small stone, which was the phaser. And, it was in the chrome aluminum box or chrome metal box. And then I think the first era of this is when they shifted production over to Russia. That's when thus the Russian nomenclature.
Yeah. Well, just for what I'm reading real quick, the black one was released in the 90s. And the green one was released in the 70s. Oh. So that's a pretty big chunk of time for things to have been altered and changed there. But the green ones right now, I mean, at least one that I see in Reverb is about $200. Woof.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bucks to put your faith in.
Yeah.
That's a lot of phase 90s.
The black one was more reasonable.
Yes. Well, that's really cool. Very exciting. Let's see. For my week this week.
What about you, Todd? What's going on in your music world this week?
Thanks for asking, Tony.
My pleasure.
I got all of my masters back, and we are ready to release to the world the four of the new Valentino's tracks.
Cool.
I'm very, 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 very excited about this, and I'm going to be meeting with one of the local radio heroes here. And Tom Butler.
Tom Butler.
Tom Butler. Thank
CD
you so
101.
much for all that you do for
Or is it
local
what?
music.
It's 92.9 now.
92.9. Yeah, and he's been a fixture. He got us on the map for on our first album.
Oh,
and,
nice.
I'm very excited. Yeah, so I'm just going to say, do what you will, sir.
Tom's a good guy.
Yeah. So anyhow, that has been a very exciting thing for me. So I've been just kind of busy doing that, and very busy sorting out the Flint stuff that I've been working on, the stompers. So if you have a multi-effects unit such as Line 6 HX Stomp or a Stomp XL,
Yep.
or I have the Valaton GP 200, which is a really killer unit. I mean, it's a really nice unit, especially for the price. The price is ridiculous. It's remarkable what this thing is capable of doing, and the actual the production on it. I mean, it's really cool. But they just came out with that in a junior model, which has less foot switches and now is much more aligned to what an HX Stomp looks and functions like.
Nice.
So we had to gear up and get that sorted out. But
So is the one that you have the one with the expression pedal on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And the Junior actually has an expression pedal too. It just doesn't have 2 rows of foot switches. It only has like 3-4 foot switches, I think, on it. It's crazy cheap, but you still get all the same. Go check that stuff out. Seriously. the Valton GP200 series.
Buy one of each.
And the stompers
and then
fit
get
all of those.
one of each stompers.
There you go. Yep. Flint Effects. Go get them, everybody.
They
We just
glow
got
in the dark.
A couple orders out today, or not today, but this week. And it's just an exciting sort of thing to be doing, you know.
Tell me about the glow in the dark.
Well, we've got 2 UV models made out of UV filament, and under a black light, it will glow. It's pretty fun.
it.
Yeah.
Do you have to buy your own black light?
You might if you want it to glow, unless you're gigging, and that's, you know.
Can we maybe get one of those foot switch flashlights with
You
a
could.
black light?
You might be able to do that. Yeah, work on that. See what you come up with.
I think I'll start on that now.
Okay, good.
Matt,
Yeah, Tony.
I'm wondering if you're familiar at all with these special patch cables that we love to talk about on this show.
Could you be talking about Tour Gear Designs patch cables?
Tour Gear Designs patch cables. Do you use them?
I do, in fact.
Oh my God.
3 boards full.
This is going to be a really easy sale.
3. You know, what you really ought to do is get the bulk pricing. If you got 3 boards full.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 boards full.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Do you like them?
I do like them. They're very, very small.
Yes.
They come in a variety of different lengths.
Yes.
They come in different shapes. S shapes.
Yes.
C shapes. You've even said W shapes.
Yes, they're still working on the W shape, but
All
they
right.
haven't released it yet.
Right. Indeed.
You know what else?
What?
You probably know this since you've got 3 boards full. They're pretty inexpensive.
They're very inexpensive, but you know what I would love to know?
What?
Do you think, is there any way that you could get me a discount?
I'm going to give you a discount. I'm going to give everyone listening a discount because all you got to do is go to the
Don't do
website.
it. No, Tony, don't.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You can't stop me, Todd.
All right.
Go to the website. Fill up your shopping cart. Go to the checkout. There's a little area called coupon code. Type in the guitar knobs. All one word, all lowercase. You're going to save an extra 10%. 10% on an already reasonably priced product that you're going to absolutely love.
That's right. They also do TRS cables. So if you
that's right.
doing remotes for some of your JAS pedals,
Yep.
JHS pedals,
Yep.
or actually, I don't think you need tip ring sleeve for those. Wait, maybe you do. Shoot. I'm trying to remember.
Just buy some anyhow,
but
because
if
you're going to need them. If not now,
if you got
you'll
an
need them tomorrow.
expression or something like that for your HX stump, you do need a tip ring sleeve.
Do it. So where do you go, Todd?
To tourgeardesigns.com.
Okay.
Done, Ski. Thank you, Tour Gear, for sponsoring our 4 on the floor. Matt?
Let me get a little bit of this.
Oh, there. Very nice.
Roll over, Beethoven.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. Matt, go ahead and give us your 4 on the floor.
All right. So I know lots of people say that this is really hard, and it was really hard for me.
Well, especially you just said you got 3 pedal boards.
I know. I had to give myself some criteria. So
Okay.
first criterion is that if these were the only pedals I had, I could actually play a gig with them.
Okay.
Good one.
Okay?
Yeah.
Second criterion, they had to be relatively uncomplicated. So no menus, no presets, regular 9-volt, hookup.
Right.
3, they had to all serve multiple functions. So they had to do a
Wait,
lot
no
of...
9-volt hookup.
No, they did have to have 9-volt hookup.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you said no. I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
we're going
Center
to the
negative,
Wayback
all
Machine.
That. Yeah. No, they all had to be 9-volt. They had to serve multiple functions. Fourth thing, I wanted them to be $250 or less.
Oh,
All right.
fair.
And then finally, number 5, they had to allow me to create as much chaotic noise as possible. I'm talking like modulation, feedback, octave madness, all the grit you could ever want in the world. I have to be able to like step on these pedals and have people know that I stepped on them and that they're going to destroy the world. So
Gotcha.
with that in mind, my first pedal
Is this an all death by audio board?
It's not. It could be.
Well, actually, you just need one pedal for that.
It could be. My first pedal is the Audio Disruption Devices Failed Transmission.
That's a great one.
It is a great pedal, and you can do overdrive, distortion, fuzz. It has a noise knob. It has a malfunction knob. It has 2 switches that allow you to add bass either to the static that the pedal introduces or to your signal. Yeah. And it has overload booster switch on it. And you step on that and it just blows the thing apart. And I love that it does some oscillation weirdness. It does modulation weirdness. It can even sound like a ring modulator sometimes. So it's a really versatile pedal if you want to get like just kind of ordinary like overdrive sounds or ordinary distortion or even, just kind of ordinary fuzz sounds. You can do it with that pedal, but you can also do so much more. I mean, it is a really weird, noisy, amazing, chaotic pedal.
That's super cool.
All right. Chaos
That's a good
rules.
one to start out with.
All right, number 2. 2 is Death by Audio. For the longest time, I've had the Death by Audio Space Bender chorus modulator on my board, which is a really wild and amazing pedal. But it got booted just today because I got the brand new Death by Audio pedal, the Disturbance, which is a filter, flanger, and phaser.
Okay.
And it has this new feature where you can step on one of the foot switches and it locks the LFO so that, and basically the way Death by Audio is describing it is that it freezes modulation and you can really get just wild sounds out of this thing. I mean, and they've gone to great lengths to make sure that really this is like 50 different pedals in one. I mean, you can get so many crazy sounds. And there are some like usable,
That's
if you're into usable sounds. I mean, I'm not really, but if you're into usable sounds, like
that's
Ottawa,
the asterisk note on every single pedal they make.
Yeah.
There are some usable
there
sounds.
are some usable sounds. I mean, if you just want an Ottawa or you want a nice phaser or you want a nice flanger, you can get it out of this pedal.
Okay.
But if you want the thing to oscillate wildly and go completely insane,
Yeah.
it will absolutely do it. I'm really thrilled about
Yes.
it. Yeah. Disturbance.
Love it.
Yeah. Johnny Marr up there just went, hey.
Yeah, you did.
Hey now.
The third pedal is Beautiful Noise Effects When the Sun Explodes.
Ooh, that's such a great title.
Which
that's a great album title, man.
Yeah. Amazing lo-fi reverb boost. Also, it has modulation on it with this sort of feedback switch. So you've got reverb, and then you have a switch where you step on the foot switch, and it doubles the output of the reverb. And then there's a switch in the middle that you can put your foot on, and it ramps the reverb so that it sort of oscillates and keeps going. I really love that reverb pedal. It also has a gain on it and a master volume, so you can make it sound really messy, muddy, gritty, like lo-fi, total nonsense. It's really incredible. My favorite reverb pedal right now. And actually, sometimes it even you can make it sound really clangy and metallic, which is probably a sound that most people don't want their pedals to make, but I kind of do.
I'm not getting that from you right now.
Yeah.
You seem pretty conservative.
I'm very conservative when it comes to pedals, yeah. For sure. And then speaking of conservative, my fourth pedal is the Boss DD8.
Okay.
Yeah. Partially because there were other delays that I thought about. One delay that I really love is the Mid-Fi Electronics Clarinet, which he doesn't even describe as a delay, but it is. It's like a simulated tape delay kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But if I only have these 4 pedals and I have to play a gig, then I'm going to need more than just sort of tape delay. So I like that the DD8's got the reverse. It's got shimmer. It's got an analog setting. It also has a looper on it. It also has this ramp setting where you can sort of ramp the delay. It also has, I was trying to think, there's one more that I was just about to mention that I forgot, but it has so many amazing features on it, and you can really do a lot with that pedal.
Yeah.
It just goes and goes.
That has an awful lot in it. And for 4 knobs, sheesh.
I mean, it is pretty...
And expression.
Yeah.
And stereo.
Yeah.
Jiminy.
It's pretty wildly uncomplicated, though, for such a complicated pedal. I mean, there is so much in it, but you've got 4 knobs.
Yeah, so you got expression level, feedback, and time. Those are 3. Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
But then you got, it goes into, let's see, the mods you get, the GLT, glitter maybe, warp, modulation, shimmer, bonus reverb, reverse, warm, tape, standard, analog, loop. So those are the selections you get to choose.
Yeah, and then I remember the thing I was going to say, on the back, there's this little switch, and you can either switch it so that when you turn the pedal off, that the repeats keep going until they fade out, or
just stop,
or
loop,
you can just
press
stop
twice. So you press it twice and it stops. So if you start the
well, no,
loop,
that's for the looper, but just
yeah.
for the pedal generally, there's a switch on the back, so you can do it so that if you when you step on it, the pedal just goes off. Or you can switch it so that when you step on the pedal, the repeats continue until they fade out.
Never hear about the DD8. Why do you think that people are just like, this is just silly?
I think that people get they fall in love with whatever version of this pedal that they fall in love with, right?
Okay.
For the longest time, I had a DD5.
Right.
And I loved the DD5. I didn't think there was anything that would ever replace the DD5. And then for a long time,
The
I was in love
DD3,
with
people love the DD3.
Yeah, DD7, you know. But I really like this new version of the pedal. I think it sounds great, and I think that it just has so many options for me, and I like to make a lot of weird racket, and this really helps.
That's cool. Do you have a expression pedal hooked up to this?
I do not.
That's your next.
I'm not a huge expression pedal guy. I mean, occasionally. But right now, I'm not using expression pedal on any of my boards.
All right. Well, that's the next level, I guess, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, super cool.
When you turn professional, you'll
Right,
want to get a
when I go
expression
pro.
pedal.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your 4 on the floor.
Oh, that's
there.
cool. Yeah, that's a fun 4 on the floor.
Yeah, really, really cool. So first off, I think let's kind of start with what's happened most recently, and this is what you surprised me in a way, and it was very delightful. We met you at the place called $2 Radio, which is a really cool place. Book publishing, tap, coffee, vegan restaurant. Like it's like such a unique place.
It's a great place.
You came with bearing gifts. You brought me a record.
Yeah. I brought you the latest R-Ring record. R.Ring is the name of the band. And the record is called War Poems.
Right.
We Rested.
Right. Now, R-Ring is whom?
So R-Ring is Kelly Deal from The Breeders and Mike Montgomery, who played in the band Ampline, but he also owns the recording studio. It's called Candyland. That's in Dayton, Kentucky. He's recorded, bands like Proto Martyr and The Breeders, to name a couple.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that was too kind. Inside that was also a little book, which is super cool. You want to tell me about that?
Yeah. So at first, Mike and Kelly, who I've known for a little while, asked me if I would write some liner notes for their record. And I thought, about it for a little while, and I was like, I could write some liner notes for your record, but nobody's going to care if I write liner notes for your record. Why don't we give a song to a bunch of different poets who are also musicians or music journalists or involved in other creative fields besides poetry, and have them write a poem in response to that song, and then we'll print the lyrics to the song and we'll print the poem together and we'll make this book. And so we got all kinds of amazing people to be involved in that, including Hanif Abdurraqib. We got Lee Ronaldo from Sonic Youth to write a poem. We got Sadie Dupuis from Speedy Ortiz to write a poem. The actress Amber Tamblyn wrote a poem. She's a poet. So there are a bunch of really
Hanif
great...
Abdurraqib, he's who also read that night, right?
Yeah, Hanif is
holy moly, that guy was incredible.
Yeah, he won a Genius Grant from the MacArthur Foundation. I mean, he is really incredible.
I mentioned at work, I was going, I'm going to go see this dude. He's invited me to this guy's Hanif, and 3 people said, Hanif Abdurraqib? And I'm like, wait, what? How do you? And they're like, he's incredible.
Yeah.
He has an
incredible book called They Can't Kill Us Till They Kill Us. And it is largely music journalism, like essays that he wrote, but he's a poet. So the writing is absolutely fantastic. He's a great reader. He's, a really, really good guy. And that book is incredible.
Yeah. He had the room in the palm of his hand. And it was cool because his particular poem that he was doing, sorry, a little sidetracking, it wasn't about LeBron James, but it was framed up as if hearing this poem or this thought stream through the acts of LeBron James's career.
Yeah.
Which was I was like, wait, what? You're going to do what? And it all made sense. I was like, holy crap, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't even like basketball. So
really incredible.
Anyways.
Wow.
So you brought that and it was super special. I was like, wow, there's an accompanying book with this too. This is freaking killer. Well, why did you bring me that record?
Well, so recently I got the opportunity to actually play guitar and bass with our ring at a show that they had in Springfield. It was like this festival that was going on.
Right.
And at first they asked me to play guitar. And I should say that I've known Mike Montgomery for probably almost 30 years. I mean, he did some recording for me or of me back in the mid-'90s. I was in a band called Squirt Gun, which was on Lookout Records. And we toured all over the States and in Europe and had videos on MTV and had a song in the movie Mallrats, which is the only reason that anybody knows that band. And at one point, I had to do some recording, and I couldn't go to the studio where we usually recorded, which is in Lafayette, Indiana. So I ended up going to this studio in Cincinnati, and Mike Montgomery happened to be the engineer. So that's how I met Mike. And then now, all these years later, Mike records the band that I'm in now. And
which is?
We're called Never Knew, Nevernew. And so Mike asked me if I would play guitar for our ring at the show, and I said, yeah, that'd be fantastic. And then, he let me bask in the good feeling that I had about that. And then like 2 days later, he said, okay, it's going to be like 20 songs that you have to learn. Because I was thinking like 10 song set, something like that. It's like 20 songs.
And this was only a couple weeks before the show.
No, this was like a couple months.
Was it?
A couple months,
well,
yeah.
So when I talked to you, it was like maybe 4 weeks out, maybe tops.
Right.
Yeah.
So then he's like, hey, have you ever played bass? And I said, no, I have not. And he said, well, we need you to play bass on like 11 of these songs.
Hey, and then can you do some drumming? And
so I had to try to learn how to play bass. I feel like now I am a maybe half passable indie rock, punk rock bass player.
There you go.
But it's a really different I mean, I know the old joke is, right, how hard could it be? It's a guitar with 4 strings.
It's even
right?
less strings.
Yeah. But
what kind of bass are you playing?
I wanted to get something that I felt like would be akin to the guitars that I often play. So I actually ended up getting a Squier 60s classic vibe Mustang bass.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a
little one.
It's small. Yeah, it's small.
That's what our bass player plays, actually.
Offset. I really like that bass a lot. And I didn't like the pickup that was in it, so I got a Lawler pickup for it. And it sounded really great. But I learned sort of how to play bass. I mean, I'm a singer and a guitar player most of the time. And I was telling you earlier that, like, if you're a singer and a guitarist and you're jumping around and you're playing pedals, you teach yourself how to nail the 1 and the 3, and you try to ignore the rhythm section. And to play bass, you got to play on the 2 and 4, and you got to lock up with the bass drum,
Right.
So I was really nervous about being able to do that. And I asked a friend of mine who's a guitarist and a bass player, like, can you tell me how to conceptualize being a bass player versus being a guitarist? And he was like, man, I know you like to dance. It's like dancing. He's like, you gotta when you're dancing, you're going with that bass beat and you're throwing your hips at the 2 and the 4. And he's like, that's what you gotta do. You gotta play it like you're dancing. And for some reason, somehow, that really helped me conceptualize what it would be like to play bass and lock up with a drummer. So it was really a lot of fun. Now I'm like, God, why has it been 30 years and I never really played bass before? Like,
right.
I love it.
It's
fun. I love the instrument. And I got a Fender Rumble 500. I think it's the 500. It's the one that's got the
single 15 in it.
210.
Yeah, I was right on.
And
by single 15, you meant 210s.
yeah.
I was guessing completely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a 20.
Yeah.
It sounded great. So it was really, really super fun to play with them. I'm hoping there are going to be more shows. I mean, there may be more shows down the road.
Awesome,
but
man.
I mean, it's kind of hard because Kelly's playing with Proto Martyr and with the Breeders, and they're doing a lot of shows. So she's gone a lot. And Mike's got other stuff that he's involved with and dealing with. So
that's wicked.
Hopefully down the road there'll be some more.
And the show was
a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great. I think I was probably so terrified for about the first half of it that I didn't even look up from what I was doing, other than to switch, between guitar and bass. And there's one song where I played a skateboard. So I had to actually hold a skateboard on my shoulder and then roll the wheels into the microphone.
Fancy.
Yeah, so I played guitar, bass, skateboard, and I got to sing some too.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
Did GBV play that show too?
GBV did not play that show.
They always do.
I know. I wish they had. That would have been fantastic.
For those not from the Midwest, that's
Guided by Voices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Featuring Robert Pollard.
One of the loudest shows I ever saw in my life was at Sudsy Malone's, the aforementioned Sudsy Malone's. It was Guided by Voices. And I had to leave. It was so loud.
What?
It was so loud. And you guys know.
That's the same way with Dirty Dungarees here. It's just like, holy moly. You gotta get your fingers and someone else's in your ears. It can get loud.
It was unbelievable.
So you're saying the washing machines were too loud?
Yeah, the washing machines were too loud. They were drowning out the band, and all you could hear were washing machines and Robert Pollard like taking drinks of PBR, and so there was. Couldn't hear the music. I had to go. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I don't blame you.
It was really loud.
I don't blame you.
Well, so let's talk about some of the gear you're actually, wait, we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about your, you came in, we were talking about you're reading your poetry and everything. You're one of the people that, I love meeting people that have a lot of things that they're into, but those things that they're into, like they're really into, and that takes talent too. That's
to do poetry. You've got to be really into it,
or just super compelled to do it.
Right.
So you were an author. You made a book. Now,
Several books.
Yes. But the book at the time that you were reading, we were listening to that. But I also learned that I learned a ton about you in like 5 minutes. It was crazy. I was like, damn.
It's like speed dating.
Wow. It was, and I got a gift. So tell us about what you do for your job.
Right. Yeah. So I teach at an art college, 4-year college of art and design called the Art Academy of Cincinnati. It's been around since 1869.
Wow.
I've been teaching there almost that long, but actually, I've been teaching there 23 years,
Oh, wow.
I think, at this point.
Good for you.
And my undergraduate degree was in philosophy. So I teach, and then I went to grad school for philosophy, and then spent like 10 years touring with bands and doing all that kind of stuff, and then went back and got my MFA in poetry. And so ended up at the Art Academy. I didn't even think I really wanted to teach, but I got this opportunity to teach a class, and I loved it.
It's so great.
And, it's so fantastic teaching visual artists. And, fell in love with it. We have a creative writing major at the Art Academy now that I helped to establish. So, I teach poetry and literature classes, but I also teach aesthetics. So I'm teaching the philosophy of art. And my students are absolutely amazing, imaginative weirdos, like in the best, greatest sense. They're always surprising. Like I never cease to be amazed. Mm-hmm. And I use that word miracle earlier, and I don't throw that word really around casually, but I think that that art is.
Well, you've dropped it twice so far.
I know,
so
but art is the context of our lives where the miraculous still actually happens,
Mm-hmm.
And so, I feel really, really grateful to be able to teach in that college. And we've got there are a lot of students who are musicians there too. So, it's exciting.
Every good art school's got to have musicians, man.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing if you listed all the bands that you're like, oh, wow, I really love them. Like how many of them actually went to art school?
Totally.
It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
That should be that's a book right there.
Yeah.
Just figure out all the famous band people that were art students.
School bands. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. And so I was really impressed by that. So you got that going for you. But it helped me actually relate not only to what we're about to, go through when you were reading, but I think it helped me relate to you as a person, as also a person who is, got his hands in maybe too many pies, and an art student and an art teacher myself. That's like, I was like, man, you're my guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really appreciate you providing that opportunity to meet up, and immediately I was just like, got to get you on the show, because aside from producer Poohbah, any of that stuff, is just like, no, man, I know you're gonna have a great story because you got it up here. So you better deliver.
Right.
Let's talk about, so you're obviously interested in things of where the mind will take you, and how you steer that, but steer it with your open eyes and your inspiration. Because it's not just, I don't think that it's hard for me to envision an artist of any kind having complete control of the wheel.
Right.
So it's much more like being a ship captain, right? than driving a car.
Yeah, or maybe like being the sail on the ship and being sort of blown around from harbor to harbor. I mean, I am all about the creative process. Like the creative process is the foundation of absolutely everything that I do. And what I mean by that is that like I go downstairs, I have an office, in my basement, and I've got all my music gear set up there, and I've got my typewriters, and I have all the stuff that I've got a record player, and I go down there every day and I listen to music and I read and I try to write a poem every single day, and I try to write music every single day or play music every single day. And, because of that, I'm like pretty wildly productive without having any real ideas to begin with. Like it's about diving into the wreck of all that stuff and allowing that to carry me to something, as opposed to me starting out with an idea and saying, now I'm going to force whatever this thing is that I have into this box.
Right.
It's more about playing with all of this stuff. I mean, it's like we play in bands, right? And sometimes we get so serious about it that we forget that it's play. It's like I'm playing with all of these things and trying to be on the lookout for where they might want to go, or where they might want to take me, right? So I write poems every day, and I probably at this point, I write a song a week. And people are like, you write poems every day? You write a song a week? Like that's so much. And yeah, it's a lot, but most of it's really bad. Right? It's really bad.
Yeah.
And the problem that I think a lot of people run into, and this happens, you run into this in art school all the time, is people are like, I've got writer's block, or I can't think of any ideas for songs, or I don't. And 9 times out of 10, it's because they're letting their expectations of what these things are supposed to be get in the way of actually just getting in there and like messing around, making a mess, right?
Right.
And seeing where that might go. And like
If it's not the best thing that they've ever done or that anybody's ever seen, it's very difficult to get yourself to get messy enough to let it not be that.
Right. And I like the reason that I can be as productive as I am is because I don't care whether or not any of the things I do are any good, because I believe that quantity will lead to quality eventually. So it's like,
I think that's also guided by Voices philosophy too.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's like if you write 10 songs in a month, one of them will probably be pretty good. And there might be a couple of them that you could tweak or take to band practice, right? And get the collaborative thing going, have other people sort of weigh in on. And then suddenly you've got like maybe 3 good songs out of 10, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to like let go of your sort of preconceived notions.
You can't be sacred.
No, you can't be sacred, and you can't be precious. You got to let go of your preconceived notions about what makes a good song, or what good guitar playing is, or what makes great song lyrics or something.
Yes, because we all know how far the people who have been on The Voice have gone.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing.
You know what I mean?
It's like people think like good songs, right? If you write good song lyrics, it comes out of like significant experiences, deep feelings, heavy duty thoughts, but it doesn't. Song lyrics are made out of words. So the question is like, where are you going to get your words? And you can't, if you've got, significant experiences and heavy duty thoughts and deep feelings, great, put them down. But if you don't, find some words somewhere. I mean, words are everywhere, right? And start playing with those on the page. Like, do some free writing, see where that goes. Try to be on the lookout for the place that you get to where you're come face to face with the things that are on your mind that you had no idea were on your mind.
Yeah.
And bam, suddenly then you've got lyrics,
I want to stay here for a little bit because I think this is a really cool place to be. I think one of the toughest things in trying to say, okay, I'm gonna, even if you have an idea and it's a good one, one of the hardest things to do is to not be bound to being linear about that. This happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens.
Right.
You know, if you think about it, more often than not, songs that we love, that we know all the words to, aren't point A to point B to point C, point D in that manner. There's gaps that allow you to be in it with them. Or are just turns of phrases that make you feel something in the midst of maybe a lesser interesting narrative.
Right. Or even, you think about like, we think sort of typically about like, verse, chorus, chorus, solo, verse, chorus kind of structure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why can't you have a song that's, Bob Dylan wrote songs that were all verses, right? Why can't you have a song that's all choruses? Why can't you have a song that's one chord played over and over again, right? Like there are so many possibilities in anything that you can do.
Yeah.
Right? Why allow yourself to be sort of stuck in this sort of one way of proceeding when there's so many possibilities? And when you look at the history of the sort of art that we love, and you listen to the music that we love, almost none of it is verse, chorus, solo, verse, chorus. I mean, there's some, but there's a lot of stuff that's just so weird. Like I love Sonic Youth, like one of my absolute all-time favorite bands, right? And they have stuff that just sprawls. I mean, there's just racket for days.
Yeah.
And stuff emerges out of that racket. And it's always amazing to me when and I don't know if this is entirely true or not, but my understanding is that they would write and compose and record the music before they ever did lyrics or melodies to those songs. And when you think about that,
that's how the Smiths worked.
Wild.
Same thing.
Wild,
He'd be doing one thing, he'd be doing another thing, and they,
Yeah. And it's only after the fact you've already got this music, and then you go and you put sort of, lyrics and a melody to it. Is mind blowing. It's amazing,
we don't know how to do it another way. That's the only way I know how to do it.
We do that too, but there's so many people that I know that are musicians and who do write really great songs who will start with lyrics, for example.
Yeah.
They'll start with a melody. It never works that way for me, right?
Yeah.
And I certainly would never be prescriptive about how to go about.
That's not a better or
doing
worse,
anything.
just however it does. And there's I think Robert Smith famously was recounting. It was like he will write down phrases and tear them out, and he literally has it like a big fishbowl. And then when he's doing a song, he's like pulls something out, and there's like head on the doors. Dream. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Right.
When he's stuck, he reaches and pulls one out. And I'm like, man, that is so freeing.
Yeah.
If you can allow yourself if you can give yourself permission to not have to be so prescriptive.
Yeah. I mean, there was a poet named Jim Stafford, and he wrote a poem every day for years and years and years. And somebody asked him, like, what do you do on the days when you're not very good? And he was like, I just lower my standards, which is like some of the most helpful advice you could ever have as a creative person, right? It's like, I need to be engaged in this process. I'm compelled to do this thing. I want to do it. I love to do it. So,
well, let me shift a little bit real quick here. And this will get in, I think Tony will probably be able to jump into some of this stuff.
Are you saying I'm not creative?
No, I know that I know that I caught you just being a listener.
I was listening
in the best way. No, honestly, in the best way.
You're fascinating.
Yeah. So I have become aware, like if I'm going through or writing, I'm making some music, right? I'm creating riffs and pieces of songs and I'm trying to get them together. But I can get really, really into, when you lock into something like, oh, I love playing this and I want to keep playing it. And then you deviate the next day and you say, yes, this is even better. But then pretty soon you listen to them all back and you're like, damn, I just played the same song like 7 times. just a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can recognize that and stop yourself from doing it or help yourself not fall into that trap. Because that can also be like a kind of a sucky place to be and somewhat demoralizing if you're like, I can't get out of this box that somehow I found myself in.
Right.
And not that you're consciously not trying to be in a box, because I think you just have to kind of just like go with it. But knowing how you go through and you're saying, I'm going to write a poem every day, when that translates to you getting on guitar.
Yeah.
Does that process follow you? Are you aware if you're like doing sort of like you're in a little whirlpool of like this riff is awesomeness?
That's where pedals come in.
Yeah.
and alternate tunings.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That'll help you get out for sure.
Totally. I mean, and especially, if you think about the pedals that I picked for my 4 on the floor, there are aspects of those pedals, or at least you can set them up in ways where they're entirely uncontrollable, right? And so when I start to feel like I'm in a rut, I put myself in a situation where I can't control things. I can't control the outcome, or I don't know how to do the thing that I think I know how to do. So like with alternate tunings, I come up with some kind of weird alternate tuning, and then suddenly I don't know how to play guitar. So I got to learn how to play guitar again, right? And I'm definitely not going to write the same like 3-chord song I've been writing with a tuning that's completely whacked out, where the E, A, D, and G strings are all tuned to F sharp, right? It's like suddenly you got to totally think about a whole new way of doing things. And, if you can sort of let go of control, I mean, that's what I use pedals for. That's definitely what I use alternate tunings for.
I've run into that a couple times. I'm like, I know this is good. I know, I can feel it in my bones. It feels like it's going to be something, but it needs a way to be its just enough of its own thing. So recently came up with one. I'm like, it kind of has a similar vibe to something else, mostly because I'm using the same drive section or something like that. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. What if I hit this with a trem, and that like made it a totally new song?
Totally.
There's one that I did on one of the 1 Minute Wonder demos. That, by the way, those are going to kick back in real soon. Here now, I got my setup going on, and I just you plug in and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't come to the table with which is why sometimes that's a real pain in the butt to do, because you're like, crap, I'm not getting what I want out of this pedal. But it did, and I was like, oh, and I said, I'm keeping that one. Right. And it was a real heavy slapback reverb, really, really heavy.
Right.
I was like, this sounds like us, but not the us that we're used to hearing.
Right.
And I sent it off to my singer, and she's like freaked out. She's like, oh my gosh, yes, we got to do that one. So it's just little things that it doesn't have to. You don't have to completely change everything, and everything doesn't have to go full on. Like if you're at 2, don't turn it to don't go 12. Just go to like 4. Yeah. That'll change things too. Yeah. But giving yourself permission to do that, I use that term a lot, even in my daily work, especially with like clients and stuff like that, because that's when people can usually put up the biggest walls. They're not necessarily against you; they're just walls that they've put up for themselves to be safe. Yeah. And I say, you need to give yourself permission to not have that wall in front of you. So
yeah, it's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you find also maybe changing up instruments makes a difference in getting you out of a rut? I mean, obviously you talked about playing bass and then later skateboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. And even different guitars sometimes, right? Like,
That's
I mean,
true.
playing a Les Paul versus playing like a Fender Mustang, they're two entirely different experiences, right?
Yeah.
So, switching up instruments. I mean, I have a synthesizer at home. I've got a Arturia Micro Freak that I play with. And
Synths are really hard to strum.
they are very hard to strum, but
Unless you get those strap-on ones.
yeah. Well, a keytar.
Yeah, the keytar.
You can have a keytar. But I think changing instruments can also be super helpful for getting out of a rut. For sure,
absolutely. And
changing amps, anything. I mean, the thing that's so great about like what we all do, right, is that we have all these different components, and they come together in all these different, this wild variety of ways. Mm-hmm. And you change one element and everything changes. That's why it's like, it's like you swap out one pedal on a pedal board and all of a sudden the whole pedal board sounds different.
Totally.
Yeah.
I would even say along this line, and this is something that I don't practice as much, but now that I'm going to say this, I'm actually going to put this into practice, is oftentimes when I get the time, I'm like, our band's in writing mode. I want to produce. I want to get something. I want to okay, strap on the guitar and go, right? With the hopes that something's going to come out.
Right.
But what I need to be better at doing is saying, I'm going to just grab a couple different pedals. I'm not going to look for any kind of outcome on this or even hope there's any outcome. I'm literally just going to do something different so that that could help me not just kind of like play the same stuff, play the familiar riff, play where because your muscle memory starts doing the same thing too, right?
Totally.
So in thinking about this, that could be a really easy way to help me not do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think about, right now I was telling Tony earlier that so my band has this residency at this bar in Cincinnati called The Comet, and we're doing 5 shows over 5 weeks. And on the very last show, I've given myself this assignment that we have to play at least 9 brand new songs.
Wow.
And we just found out about the residency like 2 weeks ago. So starting 2 weeks ago, I'm trying to write 9 brand new songs. And the thing that will stop me in my tracks is if I sit down every day and I say, I'm going to write a never new song.
Yeah.
I'm going to write a good one,
Yeah.
Like, I can't even worry about trying to write a never new song. Like, if I wind up writing 9 Joni Mitchell songs, that's fine. If I write a Clash song, that's okay.
Sure.
If I write a Ramones song, whatever. It's like I can't worry about following in the footsteps of anything that we've done before. And I can't worry about what I think the band's supposed to sound like. I can't worry about what I think other people want to hear. I can't even worry about what I want to hear. I have to find a way to get out of my own way.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. So let's talk about some gear. What's your number one?
So I don't have any nice guitars.
By the way, do we say that because of Jimmy Page? Is that why we do that? And number 1 and number 2 and
I guess
maybe
there's some correlation to that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I don't have any really nice guitars.
They don't have to be nice, man.
Well, here's the thing. Every guitar that I ever had, probably until about 10 years ago, I smashed at some point.
Okay.
So I wish that I hadn't, because I had
Got a hotline you can call for that.
I had a Mexican Telecaster that I wish I still had, that I smashed a long time ago. But right now, my number one guitar, I have a Fender Jazzmaster Classic Player Special. It's got Lawler pickups in it. It's got a mastery bridge and vibrato.
Why were you saying I don't have a nice guitar? What are you talking
It's
about?
like it's pretty tricked. It's
That's
tricked
pretty
out.
nice guitar.
That's
Tricked
a
out
pretty
in the
nice
way.
guitar.
Tricked out in the way that
Till
I
you
want to be
smash
tricked
it.
out. I mean,
I mean, your vibrato system costs more than most,
I just mean that
available
I don't
guitars.
I don't have any vintage guitars. I don't have
It doesn't have to be vintage.
No.
Neither,
I don't. But
neither do I.
So that's
Tony's oddly quiet, but neither
that's-
do I.
Tony does.
Neither
Yeah.
do I.
Yeah. But that's my number one. I play that
What color?
guitar. It's black with a tortoise guard.
Nice.
Yep.
There you go.
Do you at all use the rhythm circuit, the upper controls?
I use it as a stutter switch. So
Turn the volume.
I turn the volume all the way down, and then it just.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I use the rhythm circuit. Trying to think. I also I've got a Fender Player Jaguar.
Okay.
It's got a Brandon wound in the neck. Actually,
Nice.
I tend to write because we're a trio or a 3-piece, and I'm playing typically I play pretty bright single coil guitars. I'm not a huge fan of humbuckers. Whenever I play humbuckers, they always sound muddy to me. They don't sound muddy when other people play them, but to my ear, when I play them, they seem to sound muddy. So I play these pretty bright single coil guitars, and so
Is
I'm
your bass
always using the
tone,
neck.
Thick, or is it trebly? Is your bass player's tone?
It's pretty well. It's sort of in the middle. I mean, he's kind of a lead bass player for
Okay.
sure.
All right.
I mean, he's definitely not just following along with what I'm doing. He's very often playing counterpoint or playing
Peter
something
Hooky
entirely
kinda
different.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
So I'm going to recommend, if you want to outfit a humbucker equipped guitar, get some low winds. Lawler makes a great set of low winds. They're underwound pickups.
Okay.
They're going to be brighter. You'll still be, hum canceling, obviously.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that only like single coil guitars. That if they have a humbucker equipped guitar, they use low winds.
Oh, that's
and there's
great.
other companies that make low winds, but look for a low wind rating. You're usually like 5.5, 6.
Oh, okay.
Instead of 7 or 8.
That's great because the Jaguar that I have is an HS. So there's a humbucker in the bridge.
Yep.
And I pretty much never use it. Right. I'm always just on the neck pickup.
Well,
So yeah.
we
Get
changed
a
that
hold
for
of
you.
Zach and tell him you want a low wind bridge pickup
All right.
for
Yeah.
your Jaguar.
Will do.
Yeah,
And,
because he's doing all the stuff at Brandon now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I have a Fender Mustang.
Okay.
Nice.
That's got Brandon wounds in it. And I've got a couple of I don't
What
have
color is the Mustang?
it's Sonic Blue.
Of course.
Okay, that's the vintage? Is that the vintage color one?
That's what Kurt played. Your favorite guitar player.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have a tortoise guard. It has a pearloid white guard.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know. Can make it happen. Yeah.
So do you find yourself kind of heading towards the short scale lengths, like the Mustang's 24, the Jaguar's 24?
Yeah, I do. I like the short scale. I mean, I don't have the most giant hands in the world. I like short scale guitars are pretty cool.
We're all assessing his hands right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
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 But I definitely like my Jazz Masters. It's that's
Right.
the number one for me. And I've got a J Mascis Squire.
That's
Jazz Master.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That is one of the best guitars Squire ever put
It's
out.
a sweet guitar. I put Curtis Novak pickups in it, and it's got a mastery bridge and vibrato on it too. And so
Curtis makes some great stuff.
really
Good guy.
fantastic.
That's cool,
fantastic
man.
Guitar. Yeah.
How about your amps?
So I used to have a bunch of tube amps, and now I don't. I have the sort of main amp that I'm using is a Roland JC40 Jazz Chorus.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I really, I like even the distortion on that amp sounds really cool. It's a 210. It was 40 watts, which is plenty loud for anything that we're doing, And the
Well, and
Takes pedals really,
Yeah,
really
that's
well.
the thing. If you're using a lot of
Yeah.
pedals, that's a fantastic platform.
Tony, can you quickly address when you get I know that watts aren't technically the thing, but
Yeah.
if you get a 40 watt tube amp versus a 40 watt solid state
Tube amp's
amp,
going to be a lot louder.
Well, the tube amp will seem louder, but
you get the
there
breakup.
there are divisions of tube amplification too. There's
Right.
Class A,
Right.
There's Class AB. Now the Class A amps are even louder because of the way they run. But generally speaking, let's say a 40 watt solid state amp will be equivalent to maybe a 25 or something in that 15 to 25 watt tube range in terms
Yes.
of loudness. But there's other parts of that too. I mean,
that's kind of what I was trying to get you to touch on, because I got the PV Classic 212.
Yeah.
All right. Now that is that'll blow my hair off.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it already has. But the thing is, it stays pretty dang clean the whole way.
Yeah. Well, that's
Now,
what PVs do.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I because it's super efficient, right? So if I go to if you go
Generally.
to something that is the tubes are gonna break up faster, the more you push it, it doesn't necessarily get louder, it just gets more distorted.
Right. There's a certain
And
level.
that's where that weirdness comes in of why is my solid state amp so much louder than my tube amp that are both in the same range?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think, as you said, there's a certain level, even with a tube amp, you can turn up to a certain point, and that's as loud as it's going to get.
Right.
When you start going a little further, that's when you start getting breakup, and breakup in the power section is actually a little different distortion than you would have than breakup that was coming from the preamp stage.
Yeah.
And some people actually prefer a clean preamp going into a saturated power section.
Yeah.
Because it is a little different type
And
of
that's where
distortion.
and some amps you'll get or even pedals you get pre and post. I mean, I know electronic audio experience
Yeah.
did the Halberd that had the pre and the post on it, and that was really wow. When you start playing with that, you get crazy,
Yeah.
For sure.
crazy different stuff.
But typically with my amps, I'll even if they have a master volume, I keep the master volume wide open, and then just run, the preamp stage. I let that do its thing.
Yeah.
Because especially in my case, Voxes sound better without a master volume, in my opinion. And when you keep the power stage wide open and control the overall volume with the preamp stage, I think you get a little better signal, at least in my ear.
Yeah.
To my ear.
Yeah.
So-
So I'm using the jazz course, and all the effects are going through that. And then
Do you go into the effects loop, or do you go into the amp?
no, just into the amp, and then simultaneously I'm running it's a Lee Ronaldo Club. It's a ZT amplification, Lee Ronaldo signature amp. It's a 112, and I just run that completely clean. So the jazz chorus has all the effects. The Lee Ronaldo amp is clean, so I always have that clean signal going through no matter what else is going on. There's the clean amp, and then there's the amp that's got all the effects and the dirt and everything that's happening. And to me, it's like having those two amps both going all the time.
Yeah.
Gives it a much sort of fuller sound, and I can set them a little differently so that they complement one another. So that's what I've been using for a while. And I've got a Fender Tone Master Super Reverb, which I also really dig. But God, that jazz chorus is awesome. I mean, it took me forever to get one, and then I got one. I was like, oh, this is great.
You know what? I love the look of the. I mean, they don't look like any other amp. You find like that's such a cool looking amp. On that note, that made me think of the Yamaha G series. I love the look of those. I don't know why. You're not giving me any. love here on that.
I'm not a fan of the G series, but I will take one of the T series any day of the week.
Okay.
They made a series in the I guess it would have been the 90s. There was a T50 and a T100 that are just incredible tube amplifiers. But,
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why do I like that so much?
Yeah.
And it might just actually be just
It's the grill
grill
cloth.
cloth. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyways,
those Yamaha amps are great. We have one of those. I have a picture here of a really, really old one that I stuck a Telecaster.
Those
through
are
the-
nothing. If you find one of those,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
take a chance,
Yeah.
get something new and weird.
Awesome.
They're great. All right, man. Well, hey, this has been just an absolute delight talking with you about all this stuff, and I know that we could do a whole lot more. Tony,
Yes, Todd.
got the keys? I mean, was anybody else right there?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we got the
Bowser.
El Camino. Wave bye to Jared.
Hey,
We've been
Jared, how's the deck coming?
Kick some dust on his windows there. And
Yeah. You guys. So we just hopped in the El Camino.
Yep.
We drove down past old Jared and waved, and he threw a beer can at us. Can you believe that?
Yes, I can.
Oh, I don't know. Anyhow, it's come to that part of the show where we like to play a little game called Would You Rather? I can
Okay, all
I
right.
can never please you, Todd. You're so difficult. This week's Would You Rather comes from our pal Michael Rigby in the United Kingdom.
I bet he never gets asked. And we won't even say it. Go ahead.
Look at all the lonely people. Hi there. Hi there. I'll do it in his voice, shall
Okay.
I? Love the show and love listening to on my drives around the British Isles.
Yeah, he's gonna be so offended if he's from the north. Where
I believe he's from the southern part.
Yeah. Anyways,
The posh part.
Just read it.
Just had a thought in regards to submitting a Would You Rather, but with a little bit of a twist. Ooh. Would you ruin it?
Uh-huh.
So it's called Would You Ruin It?
You ruin it?
So here's how it goes.
Yes.
You're at a dream gig, and you're asked up on stage to play a song, and you're handed your dream guitar running through your dream amp.
Okay.
However, there is a mystery pedal on the floor, and the person to your right, in this case, anti-clockwise.
What? Anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise.
Okay.
Counterclockwise, as you would
To
say.
my left.
No. To the right.
my-
Oh, no. Wait a minute. To the right.
Anyways, go ahead. Oh, we're talking about in the room right now?
In the room right now.
Okay. Ugh. Yeah,
So
all right. I didn't
you're
get the
to my
map.
right.
Yes.
So that would be anti-clockwise.
Okay, so person to the right, that's me.
So the person to your right
Yes.
has to choose the pedal. Oh, there's a mystery pedal
Yes.
on the floor.
Okay.
And the person to your right
Gotcha.
has to choose that mystery pedal. And if they want anything to go wrong or right for the gig. So they can either ruin the gig or make the gig.
Oh, okay.
So I've got my dream guitar.
Okay.
I've got my dream amp. And Todd, who is to my immediate right, gets to choose a pedal. And he can either make me sound fantastico or... And, you know, our pal Michael here just wants to know how mean or funny people can be.
All right, so this is the buzzer thing.
Yes.
The electronic buzzer
So
situation.
he gave us an example. He
All right.
said, let's just say you're back in 1974 at CBGB's and you get asked on stage by the Ramones. You're handed a Les Paul Jr. running through a cranked Marshall Super Lead. However, the person to my right could say that the pedal is a time-traveling Miku stomp. Miku?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one that...
Oh,
that,
yes. That turns itself on every eighth note you play.
Oh, boy.
Or whenever you play a G note, the volume drops by 10%. Let's see who is mean and who is kind.
Okay, well, Tony,
Yes.
you
want me to go first?
have to go first because that's what we do.
Okay. And why do we always have to pick on me?
Yes. So
All
it's your
right,
dream
so
gig.
my dream gig. Let's just,
Okay.
let's just.
Do we have to say what the dream gig
Oh
is?
yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay.
That is part of this. So I'm going to go back to 1964
Okay.
at Shea Stadium,
Okay.
and I think it was Shea Stadium, yeah. And George is tired. He had a very sore throat, and he says,
We're gonna be. If you need to grab a drink or some popcorn, go for it. We're gonna.
he says, Tony, would you mind coming up and playing a song with the boys?
That's your George Harrison. What the? How? What?
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Oh, Tony, would you mind coming up and playing a song with the boys?
There. That's better. That's
Is that
closer.
better?
That's closer.
Okay.
Oh man.
So here's my dream gig. Okay, so I
We
obviously
apologize to everyone in the UK.
no, I don't. I apologize to no one.
That's so typical.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So it's my Rickenbacker 12-string,
Yes.
the 360 George Harrison model,
Yes.
through a Vox Super Beetle
Uh-huh.
amplifier.
Uh-huh.
Now, Todd, being to my immediate right, are you going to make or ruin my dream gig with your choice of pedals?
I'm gonna ruin it
Of course.
with the fart pedal.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you are very mean.
Yeah.
You're mean. You're mean as all get out. So the fart pedal, so every note that I play is going to sound like a fart. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Oh,
Yes.
If only I were to you and your immediate right.
Yes. It is. It's an amazing. It is an amazing little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's got all kinds of different tones on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks,
Very
Todd.
exciting. Yes.
You're up next.
Okay. All right. We'll say dream gig. I'm gonna. I'm gonna make up a gig.
Okay,
and
make it
it's
up.
gonna be we're gonna do the John Anson Ford Theater, and I'm gonna throw myself in with Jane's Addiction.
Juanes Adicciones.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm gonna do the Mountain Song.
Okay. Ooh. What is your guitar?
Well, I mean, for that one, I'm gonna play Vinny for sure. My
Okay.
yeah,
And what is your amp?
my gully guitar. We're going that deep, huh?
Well, I had to announce what I wanted.
All right. I'll go because Dave's a little bit on the squealier side. I'll just go Marshall JMP.
JMP. Okay. Now, Matt, will you be nice or mean? Remember what Todd just did to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna be mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The pedal I'm giving you is the Earthquaker Devices data corrupter.
Yeah, that really does screw me on this one. Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to sound real good.
Try dialing that in.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar. That's not
It's
gonna be good.
it's one of my favorite pedals. Like I use it all the time, but it is hard to control.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Fair play. Go ahead.
Matt, go ahead. What's your dream gig?
All right. Dream gig. Sonic Youth. Daydream Nation era. So we're talking 88. And I'm going to play. I want to play Lee Ronaldo's Tele Custom
Ooh,
Okay.
that's a good choice.
or his Jazz Blaster. But we'll say the Tele Custom through the Jasper Johns Super Reverb. So you had
Okay.
that had the target painted on it, the target amp.
Yeah.
Sonic Youth, Tele Custom.
See,
Super
now
Reverb.
he definitely picked one that is going to be just kind of noise mayhem anyway.
Yeah, there's no way to
Wait,
no way to ruin
Tony.
it.
I got
There
it.
is a way to ruin it.
I got it.
Wait.
I got it.
Okay, don't listen. Wait, hang on. Actually, I'm gonna turn your headphones down. Wait a minute. That's what I was gonna. All right, we're on
All
the
right,
same
this is gonna
page.
be good.
Okay.
Well, since we're all mean in this room, we don't have
That's so amazing.
we don't have
the
Jared,
exact same
the
pedal.
Jared or Billy here, who are the nice ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to ruin your gig too. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to offer a Boss AC3 acoustic simulator.
What are the odds of all the pedals available that we both said the same one?
Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was a fun one. So that was a lot of fun and made you think a little bit. So thanks, Michael.
Yeah. Indeed.
And say hello to Eleanor.
Yeah.
Todd.
Yes.
There's a special group of people we love to
I know
thank.
there are.
These are our executive producers. Now, for those who don't know, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become an executive producer? Quite simple. Head over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs and check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor, a patron of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts. But, there's one thing more. I keep thinking about it.
Yes.
Matt, do you know what happens as an executive producer?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D., Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, James Bell, James Romer, Cameron Pampas, and David Tyndall.
All right. Thank you so
Todd.
much.
You can thank them, but, there's another special group of executive producers that we like to call our Grand Poohbahs. In addition to all the great stuff, these fine folks get a fez to wear upon their coif. So special thanks to these Grand Poohbahs: Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Igreda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Vaughn Eppinger,
Yes.
Scott Sullivan, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, and I'm told that we have an upgrade this week.
That is correct, Mundo.
What is that? Could it be Matt Hart has upgraded to Grand Poohbahville?
Yeah.
Oh, welcome aboard.
Champion.
Thank you.
Champion.
Now, we're going to have some difficulty making the fez. We might have to cut off the top of the fez to make it work with the coif, but we'll work something out.
Thank you all so much for helping to support our show. It truly makes all the difference in the world, and we frankly could not do what we do. And I don't mean just speaking to a microphone. There's a whole lot that goes into this beyond that, and that's where this really is so very helpful. Matt, where can people find the things that you are putting out into the universe?
Yeah, if people want to find me, they can find me on Instagram at forkliftmatt or at Never New Band, NEVERNEW band.
Awesome. Where can people get your books?
There are links at Instagram to all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So explain Forklift Matt.
For 25 years, I was the editor-publisher of Forklift Ohio, a journal of poetry, cooking, and light industrial safety.
Oh, very cool. That explains it.
Yeah.
I saw it. I said, I don't know. Maybe he drives the forklift. I don't know.
Yeah. Dig it. Tony, how about yourself?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the wares I have available. But by and large, what I do is custom work. So shoot me an email at, there's a link on the website.
Yeah.
And I'll take really good care of you. I promise.
Indeed. I've seen that promise in action, and it's fantastic. All right. You can shoot me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me at Instagram at guitarknobs. And please check out Flint Effects. If you've got a multi-effects unit that we've been talking about, HX Stomp, Stomp XL,
You need one.
Peloton,
You
any of those
need
things,
you need one.
it's $10. Ain't going to hurt you. It's going to help you. That's what it's going
It'll
to
make you look cool.
And I say on it, protect your knobs. All right, everybody. Matt, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we look forward to you moving to Columbus very soon.
All right.
And yeah, no, seriously, move here so we do this more. And like,
I mean, there's
a
a couch over there in Billy's part of the studio.
Yeah,
So,
he's not using it. Anyhow, thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic Guitar Weekend. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Well, nope, he's not in here.
Okay. All right.
We tried again. All right, go.
We did a long deep dive.
Go. Yes.
You want to clap me in?
Sure, Tony.
I just, a wraparound bridge with a P90, single P90 pickup.
It's great.
Juniors are always
Which is why he has so many Rickenbackers.
Wow.
Which is, which totally defies reasoning.
No.
Not edit it.
And you're like, that's exactly what I did. No, it isn't. Here, use the mic in case you say anything funny.
Start the podcast.
Pull it over your way.
When I leave
It's like
the
a
house.
radio show, except different.
It's like an old-timey radio show.
Right on. So,
Hello, America. But I do prefer Esquires over Telecasters.
Yeah.
There's not a wraparound bridge on that. What are you talking about?
The single pickup.
Let me explain to you what a Telecaster is.
Let me explain to you what a Stratocaster is. Man.
Whoa.
That's what Tony says is the clubs.
All right. Right on.
That won't make it anywhere. That's not
Todd.
I don't like to show up empty-handed anywhere.
So, no. It's down on the bottom.
Down the bottom. The bottom?
The bottom so low.
So much amazing stuff
Yeah.
that we dreamed about trying to do as kids. I mean, I had no idea. It's like I wanted to, in 1984 probably, I wanted to sound like Mick Mars from Motley Crue. Well, yeah. And I had a little like one of those little Fender Champ amps and a Strat that my parents got me. And I was just like, why can't I sound like freaking Mick Mars?
Yeah.
Les Paul and
This is when you were talking about on the last.
Yeah, that's the Les Paul Senior.
Yeah.
The last 5 episodes, yes.
No, not the last 5 episodes. Did you happen to watch the Grammy tribute to Paul Simon last night?
No. What?
Honest to God,
Why would you ask me that?
When we were kids, we didn't wear earplugs. Like I'm
No.
practicing with punk bands,
Mowing the yard,
top
shooting
volume.
guns.
Totally, yeah, all of it.
At the same time,
Yeah.
All right. That's my Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack playing all the hits.
All right. Nobody knows who Wolfman Jack is anymore.
No, you and I.
Oh yeah,
You guys know.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I just
Wolfman Jack.
Matt, do you have anything to declare? Okay,
I
still
do
in there.
declare. Background was
Smysl. Tighten up your girdle there. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.